Sitting in his bunker at the end of April 1945, the Führer's options were limited. He could allow himself to be captured by the advancing Russians. He could kill himself, or he could try and escape and live to fight another day. According to a new book, Grey Wolf, The Escape of Adolf Hitler, he did escape, using a network of secret tunnels from his bunker in Berlin until he reached an aircraft parked on an abandoned street above. It's said that they then flew via several refueling stops to the Canary Islands, where they boarded a U-boat and then sailed largely underwater to Argentina. It's a fascinating story, but is it true? Could Hitler really have survived the war and escaped? Journalist Jamie Theakston is following the clues and the evidence, trying to extract the truth from the fiction. Shortly after the war ended, a BBC journalist, Thomas Cadet, was allowed into Hitler's ruined bunker by Russian forces. Interestingly, this is what he said.
Outside the front door of the shelter are the 5 perforated petrol tins that were believed to have been used for scattering petrol on the body of Hitler and of burning it. But there, at any rate, my Soviet friends found no trace of Hitler himself. But there was the half-burned body of a man with a lock of black hair on the right-hand side of his face and a little black moustache. And they looked at him more closely, and their doctors came to the conclusion that it was what they call a bad double of Hitler and not Hitler himself. If that is so, then all trace of him has disappeared.
In the years immediately after the war, there was no hard proof that Hitler had in fact died. One of the problems that investigators encountered was the lack of any physical evidence for his death. The skull fragments found by the Russians near the Führer's bunker and believed to be his were not known to the West until 1968. Then, in 2009, DNA testing of the bones revealed that in fact they belonged to a woman.
The most important thing in an investigation is the body, to some extent. Now, the BBC get invited into a bunker by the Russians and say, come and have a look, we've blown it up, there's nobody here now. And they go in, and there was literally nobody there. So when the Russians are asked to produce a body, they go, well, we haven't got one, we took it away, we've buried it somewhere else. Now, in the 70s, they claimed that they dug it up and destroyed it and cremated it, but they kept some skull fragments, which were then later tested and proved to be from a woman who was under 40 years old. So there's still no evidence of a dead body anywhere. There's no witnesses to that dead body.
Hitler and Eva Braun's body were never found, and the fact that only a fragment of a jawbone was found leaves the door open that perhaps they would have formulated an escape plan. And wouldn't it be a smart thing to do rather than suicide? If you could get away, wouldn't you go ahead and try to do that?